Luca Nation, welcome back to another episode of Lucas Tigers and Bronze, the best sports card in the world, bringing you daily episodes, guests, topics, and all things hobby related. And as you guys know, we're doing a series in the month of October. We're doing a series in the month of October, recapping the National. Thousands of people there, nowhere to park, tons of fun, tons of connections. And we want to bring it to you guys because many weren't able to be in attendance. AC is a difficult place to get to. You have your families. A lot of our listeners are international. Shout out to our Australia community, which is as strong as ever. They love you, Cage. They're probably reenacting a statue of you there probably in the next 3 years.
I hope.
But
was there
point
just
is,
them from Australia that admitted? Oh, too soon.
Tell me again.
Well, I saw. Are you talking about the person that finally showed his face at National? I was excited for that. I didn't meet him though.
Card porn was walking around National. The issue is he's not wearing a card porn sticker, so no one knows who it is. He could just be anybody, or it could be she.
Of course.
But the point is, we wanted to bring it live here on the air. Yesterday we had Bro Namath. We have amazing guests coming up. We have Lefko. We have the Card Ladder guys. We have Josh Luber. We have Vadim. We have Lauren Don Diego. We have Women of the Hobby. We're going to have amazing guests. This is going to be one of your favorite series. And everyone's going to have different perspectives, from breakers to influencers to data platforms to all that stuff. Today we have my dear friend, Vadim Namath. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. For those that don't know, Andrew and I met on Mercari.
It's true. It's true. That's the Tinder of sports cards.
Out of that one, Cage. And subject number 2 is, now this is the second National I get to talk about, because Cage and I were stuck in an airport together for 12 hours last year.
That was an interesting time.
That was very interesting. He got it. By the way, I think you got your first crypto lesson from Mully, not from Bro Namath, because I listened to the episode. Do you remember the in airport crypto lesson?
Yes, I do. I remember that 100%. Where crypto's going to the moon. I was like a grandpa, and I don't understand crypto and all these.
That's 9 months after the episode,
but it was
like
well
the baby
after
of the conception.
No, but this guy was exactly what you shouldn't be in an airport. I mean, I guess the best word for it would be belligerent drunk. Basically yelling, TSA, come keep me off of a plane. Like, that was kind of what he was, this individual.
Yeah.
So. And lucky for all of us, nobody got in the air anyway because our flights were all delayed. And
then you came back to the half-baked room. So
came back to fully baked.
For people that don't know, give them you're a business owner. And this is truly a hobby for you. So give people like the origin story. How did you get into this?
So I grew up collecting. My family's owned a bagel store that I took over. We've owned the bagel store for over 30 years. I took over the store about 12, 13 years ago. Back in that day, the company that we used to get candy from, HLA, they used to be a Topps distributor. So in the 90s, my dad started bringing me packs of cards. I started collecting, became a huge sports fan because of it. I stopped collecting due to a bad experience with not my LCS, but a store that had opened up locally. So Chameleon was my LCS growing up. It was on Austin Street in Rego Park. There was another store that opened up like between Chameleon and where I lived. The store was like the new hot store. Everybody went there. They took consignment. They also went out of business about a year later and robbed everybody of their cards.
Oh.
So I guess I was probably 15, 16 when that happened. I kind of got really burned.
Why did you go from Chameleon to them? We're big on loyalty in this space.
I could bike there, and Chameleon was like a little bit further away. And Chameleon was a little bit of a higher end store. I couldn't really afford everything that they had there, and this was more of like a hangout. And they had, so they robbed everybody of everything they had on consignment.
It's funny, Vadim, this is not about you, but I think it's actually worth a 5-minute diversion, right? Because although no one's as old as I am, with some age, you can kind of tell stories about the last hobby cycle. And Andrew, why you would go to the store? I mean, when I was a kid in Staten Island, I'd go to various stores because all of them had different vibes. Some of them had the NBA Jam game in there and comic books and that kind of stuff. But what's amazing is, tell me if this sounds familiar. As the hobby grew, as there were more cards coming out, as you had that boom in the late 80s, early 90s, and, mid 90s, card stores got bigger. Yeah. They cared more about the experience in the store and less about just selling you wax and, gum and packs. It got more about come and hang out. It got more about like, oh, we're gonna give this whole hobby experience in the store. And then immediately following that, 3/4 of them went out of business and they stole your cards.
Yep.
So,
Oh no. Doomsday Cage. You had a lot of work this morning, right? So it's Doomsday Cage.
It was a busy
we need
day.
Different cage of different hats for you.
Yeah, I like hats.
I totally agree with you. Right. The thing that I'm most pissed about at that LCS at this point is that I stopped before LeBron, and they pretty much single-handedly fucked me out of potential money I could have, because at the end of the day, I ended up keeping everything. I'm going to do a live probably in the next month or so. I'm going to open up my storage container. I have sets from the 90s, complete sets from the 90s, and stuff like that I've looked at it with Hudson, who he like laughs at some of the, like what the cards look like, because what was it? Fleer metal, was the coolest stuff back then.
The metal's sick.
Some of the upper deck stuff, right? But you didn't have shiny. You didn't have, an autograph was non-existent outside autographics from Skybox, right? And stuff like that. So I put everything down. I stopped, kind of not cold turkey. And,
you're an Eastern European. You harbor resentment. You're like, how am I going to forget this hobby thing? How am I going to get this guy back?
Well, you know what? There was no way to get it back, and I kind of moved on to just,
You called Cage, Tony Soprano. You say, hey, what can we do? Your waste management business. What can we do?
So I re-entered the hobby in probably 18-ish. I went to my LCS, who I love, have a great relationship with now. I went in there and I'm like, look, now I have a son. I kind of want to get back in, kind of see what stuff's like. I can actually afford stuff now, a little bit more than what I could afford then. And I came in and I said, look, I would talk to you. I can, I want to get back in the hobby, but what do I buy? Right? Like what? And the owner took the time, first time I've actually spoken to him, to show me, he showed me Prism.
And for the first 3 years of collecting, Vadim was only buying clearly Donruss. The shop really steered him right.
He was buying Zion Silvers and marking them up like 160% on Mercari, taking advantage of young, naive buyers like Andrew Goldberg.
I'll tell you,
and all the other aliases I created on Mercari.
When I saw Gary V in your job description on Facebook, when I looked you up, I was like, I'm not giving this guy a deal. He makes good money. He works for a huge company. What am I?
Joke's on you. Everyone that works for Gary works for free. Do you not watch any of his content?
So I started buying. I hit all those cards. In 18, 19, 20, I wasn't buying that many singles. That wasn't my thing. I was ripping to the death. It was everything. My little guy, I taught Hudson was opening boxes with me. I stepped into the business side because there was somebody who is like a brother to me. Mike and I had spoken. Mike and I had met. Mike from Polwax.
Mike Vinegar?
Yeah,
he came up to the Hamptons, or you went down to South Beach?
Neither. We spoke on.
You met in the middle in DC. At Ziggy's house.
Middle. We spoke on Instagram, and we started to, just speak about cards. He was in sneakers. He was kind of leaving, and we just started talking. And he was he had just started up Polwax, and we were just, I was like, look, maybe, I could get product, maybe I could whatever. And, I kind of jumped into the business with, just being involved, speaking to him, learning the business on the back end. And it was just an amazing experience because that's when everybody started getting in. Right. It was I got in and I started watching. I was watching all the lives. I was watching all the stuff that was happening, and I was watching in like a very particular. Hold on one second, guys. I'm sorry about that. I was watching in a.
I would fire that person, like legit, just right there on the spot, on camera. Show them who the boss is.
Nothing but salt bagels for you for the rest of the week. Salt bagels and nothing else for you.
So I was seeing the back end from a lot of people, and more importantly, I started.
You saw Mikey's back end.
I'm
caged today. What is wrong with me?
Where'd you find him? Attorney, right, Cage?
Listen, I like the story. I'm waiting for it to go. So I mean, you're involved in pull wax, you're doing all your stuff.
Yeah, and just in a very look, Mikey is the owner. Mikey was the owner. I was involved with him on, I was able to get some product. I was able to get him some product. And I just start meeting a ton of amazing people just from, I was in all the lives. I was watching what was going on. I was speaking to him on a daily basis. Right. And it was a very, the experience, the people and everything else in 2019 and early 2020, like you've said a million times, Cage, everybody was happy-go-lucky. Shutdown happens, and it was like, holy shit, it's off to the races. I remember, and I have a picture of it. I didn't even go. One of my good friends was going to Target, and she said to me, "Do you need anything?" And I showed her a picture of a Prism Blaster. So she calls me from Target and she says, the nice lady has all these boxes. How much do you want? I said, FaceTime me right now. And it was literally, it was everything. So at the
You bought them out? You cleared them out?
Oh, the entire thing. And at that point, they were happy. She didn't have to put it out. Nobody gave her a hard time. She put it on the belt. It was $975 worth of wax, which tripled on the other end, right? Like that was the math. You couldn't even when I texted, I got that picture and I texted it, to a couple people. They were like, whatever you want, how much? And I'm like, no.
So you were the OG retail flippers, those guys that were hanging out at Target 4 a.m., with their canoe and their TP, and they're waiting for the store to open for the guy to come with product, and you're clearing them out.
I cleared it. This is before those lines started happening. This is when people.
Well, you were first in that line.
Yeah,
they got it behind you.
Get
behind me,
Andrew. Which kind of teepee do you have in the parking lot? Is it like toilet paper to take a dump, or like a teepee like you were sleeping in like a tent?
Like a tent.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you meant. I meant like, you're sleeping out there, you have to wipe your ass. I didn't know,
Well, you probably do. That's more.
I don't know where you were going. I didn't know where you were going with that one. All right. So, I mean, you listen, for those who don't know, we got Vadim's backstory. He's doing a pull, but you're also a business owner, right? You got a bagel store, and now to fast forward, you got wax crackers, right? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, my partners and I own Wax Crackers. We opened it up about a little more than a year ago. We have an office in New York. We do some wholesale wax. We are just starting brakes. We hired a very, very experienced, absolutely entertaining.
The Amish Jonah Hill. I know who you're talking about.
Jonah Hill. Right. Benny's a legend. I don't know if Andrew got to meet him. I think Andrew may know who he is. Garnett.
Smart kid.
He's also been doing this his entire life, right? So this was his 7th national. The experience he brought into how successful we were at national is, doing it as many times as he has. The prep work. He brought on one of his friends to help us in the office. To comp. We comp. I will take zero credit for it because I didn't do it. They comped, I would say, 5,000-6,000 cards in a week before national. We absolutely crushed. We did amazing. My biggest thing was bringing awareness and marketing our brand, right? So we do wholesale. We're starting breaks. We when we first started, we were buying collections and reselling them. We have an eBay store. We have, I have means with the connections I've made within the hobby. Now we're going to be set up at pretty much every show locally, and such. So, my whole thing was to market the brand, get it out there. There's so many brands out there. But the biggest thing is it's the relationships. And I've heard so many people talk about it, right? Why does everybody, I'm exhausted. It's 4 days after the national and I'm still like lugging, right? But it's so worth it to see the people that sometimes you only get to see one time a year. And there's some people I still had not met till this one, right? That I missed in Chicago or weren't in Chicago. But
Well, let's talk about that, Vadim, right? Because, I mean,
Yep.
part of this is about the national and the response of national. I think you can bring kind of like three topics. Andrew's very good at moderating, very good at like kind of like leading and interviewing. So I'll give you kind of three things. You take whichever one you want. So number one, going to national you've been there. You're a hobby professional. You've been in the hobby for a long time, but now wax crackers, this is a new business. So
Yep.
what was that like going in as a new entrant into it? The first national while this company's been around. What are your goals there? What did you accomplish with, with the
Probably
new
got better
company? What were you
parking than
trying to
us.
do? Probably got better parking than us,
No.
definitely. Then two, the lack of internet and comping beforehand, which your team did. How was that helpful? I mean, I would imagine it probably put you in a good position to really succeed. And then third, the relationships. Did you meet new people? That kind of stuff. So I mean, that's kind of what we want to hear.
Right.
So let's
So relationship wise, right?
Yep.
One of the biggest reasons, Benny, he has so many relationships within the hobby for years, on the younger side, right? But all of them grew up together. And I can name, probably 25 people, all of who you guys know. And all these people are coming over. They've seen me, they've heard me. I don't know them. And then there's the people that I bring that are coming over to see us to see what are you guys doing. We fortunately have, my partners have a very big IT side. So we have built out a back end tech, for our website. We're going to be our mainstreaming is our goal is to go off our website on YouTube, as well as Instagram. We're also going to be on Whatnot. We're also, we had some conversations with Network at the National. I met some people that, are very interested in having us on. And I'm going to explore all options. I'm building a new business and you don't close any doors, right? And I've learned that. I've learned that from my main business, which is very relationship based. You take every opportunity you have. You also don't burn the bridge. Just because the opportunity doesn't work out means you turn your back and you turn your back to them. So one of the things, one of my marketing tools, actually two that I brought up for national was, we were in the Breakers Pavilion. I was extremely happy with our location because we had a ton of room around us. We were a corner table, and we also had better reception than the other side. But our comps were very fair, and we got so many compliments on Benny's a firm believer with that 20-30% national tax shit, or some people with 200 and 300. It doesn't work. Why are you doing that? Right? We're at comps. We're willing to work with people, and we're there to.
Are you selling singles, Vadim, or are you breaking?
We actually sold a ton of singles, a ton.
So are you an eBay store? Are you a breaker? Are you an all-in-one kind of umbrella company in the hobby?
He's an everything bagel.
Literally. I've always been a bagel. You actually, and I mean, Cage, you see how many people I have relationships with.
We know you're the most popular. How did you end up at Cigar Night? Explain that to me.
He kicked in the back door.
So there was no way with what was on that I wasn't showing up at Cigar Night. And I wasn't bringing my people.
Your crew.
My crew. So you met some of the crew. Brandon is a dear friend. It's funny,
Yeah.
right? Meet some people on Instagram in cards, and then like we've met for family trips already, right? He's a dear friend of mine. I love him. I love the new company they're building. And I spoke to him. He told me that, there was a little bit of an invite situation. I already
An invite
when
situation.
I had texted one of you guys about getting invited, you knew I was busting balls because I was already invited from another end. I was just testing the waters. Um, and when I found out about, the little mishap that was going on, I said, amazing. So when they see you and shake your hand, how good is that feeling going to be? The funny part was
I don't understand what you're talking about. What mishap?
Listen, it's internet drama
little
that in real
it's
life
a
is so.
discrimination thing.
Bro Namath,
Played it on yesterday's.
it was on yesterday's episode. We explained
Yeah.
how he would have loved to have been invited by us, but we have a limited amount. He also does not own an NFT, so he couldn't get an invitation from us. So he was able to tickle Vadim a little bit in the place where Vadim likes it, and Vadim brought him in.
That's not a
So
mishap. That's you guys are being cheap and you don't want to support your friends. Let's call a spade a spade. The NFT is $70, where you get 3 free grades, a cigar night with open bar, and chicken sandwiches with ladies walking around, and you get to meet LT. And you guys are like, instead of supporting my friends, I'm going to kick
We're
in
like,
the back door.
no, I'm not spending $70. I'm going to show them I can get in without spending that money. You just
I'm
get in.
waiting for Anthony's receipt on how many of my cards he's bought so far. If he's going to talk about receipts, I got receipts, bud.
They don't have to buy your cards. That's not a sign of friendship.
Wait,
Let me buy your overpriced Zion silver to show you how much I love you.
It's so funny that he's still salty about that. Yet what he learned best from Gary was buy at a garage sale price and resell for.
Gary doesn't do that. He buys it for content and puts it in a box in his closet, and then he just makes content out of it.
Here's the content I want at the next national. Can we have a pelmeni eating contest between you two? Who's going to eat more?
Eat more what? Baklava?
Pelmeni.
I don't know if
Pinmeni? What's inside the pinmeni? Is it cherry, blueberry?
I'll let you guys pick.
Potato?
We can come up with rules, but it could be meat. It could be potato.
I had 3 bagels and
cheese. You did,
and you didn't even come up. So don't cry to me about buying tigers, right? So I don't.
You didn't take my free bagel.
You're more on the creative side of the brain, not the logical side, right?
The problem is you overthink things and you try to create, and I logically deliver. It's okay. So marketing, and I want your
marketing. So marketing. I'm still on the pelmeni competition.
There are 4 types of business: railroads, airplanes. Sales.
Listen, this is fun, man. It's going. I feel like I am at a pitch meeting for the next Rocky movie, Drago versus Drago, and it is going to be awesome.
The jersey swap idea I came up with.
I did like that idea.
So
how did it work out?
We have tons of shirts here, a ton. Unfortunately, so many people came up, and we were so busy business-wise,
and giving away bagels.
Big mistake. I was shorthanded. And I wasn't able, fortunately, because of how busy we were, to do enough. People came up, we took pictures. I didn't take enough pictures, right? People loved it. The other thing we offered was breakers who did not get, or even those that were breaking on Whatnot, we offered them to break at our table. All I asked for, we had the setup ready, just give us a shout out. People were shocked. People thought we were charging for it. People reached out to ask how much.
These were breakers who didn't have a space?
Absolutely. And these are breakers who even were breaking on Whatnot, right? Because Whatnot had slots, but didn't have.
So hang on a sec, right? Let's pump the brakes for the people listening, because the Siberian Express here sometimes gets a little out of control, right? So here we go. Here we're gonna go. It does. It just saying, kind of goes off on its different track. So here, one with jersey swap. One of the ideas Vadim had, you might see some posts about it, was that he had his own shirts for his own company, and people who came over with their own shirts, sort of like, the soccer guys do, football guys do at the end of the game, they swap shirts, right? So this was one of the ideas he had. National was a pretty cool idea. Like, hey, you have a brand, we got our brand, we'll swap shirts. I'll wear yours.
I would argue that people at National have nicer physiques than the soccer players too. So you get a little bit of that. The ladies,
I mean, not me. I got a horrible physique. But in any event, it is what it is. I'm working on it. So, but you know, body by Chick-fil-A, man. This is what happens. But so that was a cool idea. And you know, it's like selfless. Same as like, you know, offering up your table to breakers to break, you know, here's a spot, just give us a shout out, right? Because I mean, there are people in the hobby who are like, I'm not wearing another company's shirt.
There's one person in the hobby, so that's me.
He's not a walking
Andrew
billboard.
says that to me all the time. I'm like, hey, I got a shirt here for you. He's like, I'm not somebody else's billboard. But you know what? We are all kind of growing the whole thing, right? We are talking about that. Do we actually mean it? You know what I mean?
It was also just from the other side. Don't even wear it. Take a picture of me. We're gonna tag each other and we're gonna post it, and that's it.
I am a walking billboard, but I love that. But here's the next part. And I have to do better at this also, finding a kind of happy medium. I enjoy being in the moment at these things. I enjoy, you know, running around, trying to calm down Andrew about the parking situation or whatever it is we're doing, making trades, making deals. I don't stop for a second and say, holy shit, I have to stage a photo. You know what I mean? There are people who are much better at that than me. And I wind up coming home with like 3 pictures.
I think you got the one of you on stage in Chick-fil-A.
You got to send me pictures. People on stage, everybody sends me ones where I'm asleep on stage.
No, I sent you. You were flexing on stage when.
Send me that. That's a great picture.
Yeah.
But Vadim, what would you say has made you a successful businessman? And for all the people that are newer in the hobby, what would be one piece of advice you'd give them?
Be a person. It takes so much more energy to be negative and to be nasty than it is to just be a human being. It's funny. I've met so many people, right, in the last 4 years. I'm trimming that by about 90% after this national. But I continue to meet.
I want to talk about that.
I continue to
meet trimming people.
So we went to dinner. I got there Tuesday night. I went to dinner with a bunch of guys that are 10 years younger than me, 10 and 12 years younger than me. And the kid, so Alex Flutie, I don't know if you met him. He's the owner of the Hobbyist LA. They just opened up the Hobbyist. I think you've spoken to him, Cage. They just opened up the Hobbyist in New York. I've become very good friends with him. He's an amazing person. And the kid is so fucking smart. And you know what he said at dinner? He said, because he came from
said, pass the mashed potatoes.
We were at an Italian restaurant. No, Matt.
Pass the ricotta.
What's that? Oh my God. It's like the hardest place.
I'm hooked. I'm hooked. What did he say? Jesus Christ. I'm hooked. I'm 27 minutes in.
About that. This industry is growing. And it's absolutely amazing. You know what's going to fuck this up? The people in it, because they can't be people. And the only thing that's going to fuck it up, and I agree with him, and that wasn't verbatim. That was the message. But really, it's I'm sitting there. The kid's 26 years old.
Are you guys all talking generalities? Are there specifics?
We'll get to it.
We were speaking generally because he was talking about he came from the clothing business and the kid is super bright. He's already successful. He's done a lot of things and he's just watching from afar as all this nonsense builds up on a daily basis. The internet beefs, people threatening people over cardboard of men and boys, people creating drama because they themselves have so many insecurities that they can't handle, you know, them calling other people, you know, names because of their own problems.
That happens in every industry. Apple and Microsoft, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates used to come after each other.
Those are okay. I don't disagree with you, but the problem is this was a hobby. I've been calling it the industry for 2 years because when you get to a certain financial level, you're no longer just a hobby.
There's a $10 million SGC 9.5, $20 million SGC 9.5 mantle for sale. That's not a hobby. That's life-changing money for someone.
100%. However, on the other side of it, that doesn't give anybody the right to be a dickbag.
No one's saying that. But I think, if anything, at National, no one was a dickbag. I think small micro pockets of the internet.
Your face or behind your back?
Ooh, what are they
What do you
saying
mean?
behind
People
Andrew's back?
talking trash.
Come on, let's hear it.
People talk trash all over this hobby.
People talk trash in life. I talked trash about 6 people this morning while I was drinking coffee.
I'm sure you
He
did,
did.
and
He did.
probably 5 of them. But
You're- and we got to understand Vadim's self-importance there.
I think you understood that when I walked into your NFT party. No, on a serious note, though, like that's the hardest part of it is people. I've learned from I'm in the customer service industry, right? And I've built relationships my family's built relationships in an area for 30 years, and my dad and my parents, whether it's our background, that business has taught me certain things. These people. And the problem isn't just the kids who have no business sense, right? Who think they have business sense. I've talked about this and the internet keyboard warrior thing, because when somebody explains that to them, they usually stop or they change a little. The problem is the adults, right? You have people who are parents who are going out there doing such juvenile dumb shit that it's like perfect example. I was talking to one of the bigger companies regarding mystery packs. It's like people can't help themselves. In the beginning, they were amazing. Then it went through a phase where everybody just scammed everything. Why? Because people can't help themselves. It's greed. And is it usually the kids? No, it's usually the adults. And that was the point. I have somebody 12 years my junior at a dinner telling me that he sees this, and he's only been in the hobby for like a year. The hobbyists, I believe, just celebrated a year, right? So when it's that resounding, you know what it does, Andrew? It pushes people away, right? And you don't want that. And I've spoken about this on many levels, right? I think the National was amazing. Internet sucked. AC sucks. The people were worth it. Hanging out with my boys, like the guys that I spent time with at your cigar night, at your event. I saw so many people that I spent individual time with that I haven't been able to, right? The other dinners, the other events. I saw the CEO.
If your dad was here, Vadim, because if your dad was here, what's one thing he would tell us about you that makes you a successful businessman? So, what's his name, by the way?
Alex.
Sasha, class.
So, I have a Russian Ukrainian father, so he'll tell other people he'll tell other people what I do well. Not sure. I usually get what I do wrong. And what I do wrong, is I react. I react. I have a temper, and I react, and I don't take shit from people. But what I have learned though is you can constructively, get your point across without sounding like an idiot. Because I have been, somebody 6 months ago called our company scammers. You know why? Because we created
people call scammers all the time. People say mean shit all the time.
Absolutely fine. You know why he did it? He saw our website, and we do mystery packs on our website with the technology that was built. They're like e-packs. You click a button, you open up, it shows the card, you ship next business day. So the problem is, you know why he did all that? Because he's too insecure about scamming his own mystery packs. So when I called him, he also didn't realize that I was Wax Crackers. I reached out to him, and he freaked out, and he was apologizing. I'm like, no, this is good. We're gonna have a conversation on a live to tell people why it's unnecessary to just offload when you don't know. And it's people's own insecurities that lead to that.
All right. So we didn't answer the question, but I'll answer it for you. If your dad was here, what he would say is you got to be more about the community. You got to be winning for the community, not winning for yourself. No Yatsim Ya. Not for me.
No,
anyway, that's what he would say. That would be number one. Number two.
How much I give to everybody else, and this is why you brought up, and when I said I'm gonna cut about 90% of the people that are friends and brothers, because I give to everybody. Everybody knows they can call me when they need something, right? And they know I've been that person. And then it's time for, I'm building this company. I'm not asking much. Just post about it. Just repost a shirt.
That is asking a lot. You're asking someone to take out of their time out of their day to post about your business. It's not their responsibility to market your business, Vadim.
But when they need help and I've saved their ass 25 times, you know what it is?
So you're giving with contingency.
You're not. I never give with contingency. I never ever, Andrew, give with contingency.
I do this for you.
That
and one day I may ask you for a favor.
No, do it in a Russian accent and a KGB accent. I give you this muffin.
I give you this.
I ask for I give
you this everything twist. One day I must say cinnamon roll. It's not a cinnamon roll. It's the Eastern European jizz. Anybody know the movie? Anybody know the movie? Boom! He nails it.
Ari Gold, Jeremy Piven.
Wow! Did he?
Yeah, top 3 actor. Love Ari Gold
because of Cage.
Yes, I love Ari Gold because of Cage. Yeah.
No, because of Cage.
He's watching movies now, dude.
All right.
Awesome.
So I also have a super cool story. Cage, you're a basketball guy, right?
Sure.
Know who I ran into at Harrah's?
Allen Iverson.
Lenny Cook. Everybody's seen Allen Iverson. I ran into Lenny Cook, and we started talking.
Who Lenny Cook is.
And go watch the documentary on Lenny Cook. Lenny Cook coming out of high school was as good as LeBron James. Cage.
Oh my God, you're the best thing that's ever happened to this podcast. So we are not sponsored by Vadim. This has been a 36-minute billboard for Wax Crackers. Follow him, create 5 fake accounts, and follow him on those accounts too. Let's get those numbers up. What else? Throwing a break?
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes for a second, okay? Because we've talked about like trimming people and the whole deal, but I have spoken to Vadim, and he's actually said a lot of nice stuff about the National. I'm going to lead you here, leading question. How about a name? Somebody who you met at the National, a company, whatever it is that you at the National, that you have now a different perspective, a more positive perspective. You left National saying, all right, this person's, this is somebody I would mess with. Okay. Shoot.
All right. So PWCC. I was on a live with both of you. You hear that, Jesse? They were on a live with me. And we talked about, it was me giving my opinions at the time.
Shocker.
Yeah, it's shocking that it wasn't you. I was giving my. So I thought, I did not think good things about what they were doing. There were reasons behind why I thought they got kicked off of eBay. Jesse is one of the most genuine and good people that I've met in a long time. I totally, after speaking to him, not about him, but about the company and the entire situation, I have a completely different outlook. And I love what they're doing. I love the advances they're making, technologically and other advances. Also, very impressed with Beckett. I spoke to the Beckett people. I think that they are doing everything in their power. Look,
Did they pay you in Bro Namath?
What?
Did they pay you in Bro Namath?
You know what's funny? They absolutely did not. But they're walking around the show actually asking people for honest opinions. And I spoke to them, I think, the first day. And then
that's the bar. That is the current bar of our industry.
It's funny how long that goes. It goes a long way. I mean, you mentioned PWCC and Jesse, right? They built a great team, right? So, I mean, yesterday Samantha, who was at the booth, right? She, I was exchanging messages. She asked, she says, "Hey, you've been with us for a long time. Like, what's something that we could do better? What's something that you'd want to see? What would make the user experience better from a buyer-seller perspective?" It goes a long way to ask that stuff. You know what I mean? You feel like you're, as an end user, you could be part of the process and maybe help make it better for other people, right?
And so the second day, Thursday, I believe, I was walking around with Bro Namath around the show, and I don't grade that much, and I also use group subbers to sub my stuff for me. So he, however, does everything himself, and he had a very bad experience with them. Literally, we're walking through. I grabbed the gentleman that I was speaking to the day before, pulled him up, and said, "Tell him about your experience."
Wait. Just, we want to pause. You grabbed the gentleman and pulled him. Wonderful. Okay. I'm just making sure we are hearing it correctly.
It's 2022. You have to accept me for who I am.
I do. I accept all of
We're
you,
clarifying.
they, he, she, whatever it's going to
So
be. I mean,
I think is going to have a turnaround as a company because they're starting on the streets, the feet on the street. The people care about changing shit. They're listening to them. It's not, you could see they're listening because they're engaging fully. I lied though. I have a third. So there's a
ooh.
breaker who I actually coincidentally is from Syosset. I met him last year, or no, I met him a couple of years ago. Did not even realize that he was a customer of mine. And his growth in the hobby is amazing. Daps. I don't know if you know who Daps is. First of all, his team, I think, is triple, if not more, of what it was. He realized from day one, he lives in LA. What did he do? The guy was breaking blaster and retail product from the get-go, right? He realized content is the way to go. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the number's like 20 million views in the last 60 days on TikTok. Those are not children's numbers. Those are very serious. That's content. Okay. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things, right? Like there's, companies that may, that are holding down whatnot, some of the bigger ones, whether it's Backyard Bleacher, Pull Wax, as some of the bigger ones, right? Everybody's got, so he's doing breaks on TikTok. It's just him and Backyard, if I'm not mistaken. And the amount of viewership they're getting is absolutely crazy. First of all, he's an absolutely great
42 minutes in, and I think that is actually the value. That's the nugget of gold that if someone's listening out there, because Vadim, if you listen to our show, which I'm not sure you do.
I've been listening. You can ask Cage for like the last 2 months. Every day.
Okay. Well, we're value driven. We're like, how do we show up every day and add value to the end consumer? And I think that is it. I think there is a little bit of saturation on Instagram, but TikTok is, if you're kind of stuck in that muddy water of business and you're looking to separate, maybe take a look at TikTok. Even though it's uncomfortable, it's different. I'll probably ask you to create new skills and learn new skills. TikTok, it might be an opportunity.
I'll tell you more. You said saturation. I think there's other platforms that are oversaturated. And at this point, Instagram actually.
Your OnlyFans, I agree, but Vadim, you're still pulling numbers on there. Don't worry about it.
Well, I think, look,
I've been breaking on MySpace, and I just break for myself. There's nobody there with me. It's crazy. Me and Tom.
But, so they're on TikTok. Them as a brand, I love what he's doing. It's, look, I have literally, I have no skin in the game. I have nothing. I'm just telling you, like, people who I met, and I've known him, and I've seen what he was doing, and it was kind of like, as a breaker, a lot of the other breakers, I don't think actually gave him the respect. He's opening a store in LA
I ain't get no respect.
And now that I have mentioned you on the podcast, Daps, you must in turn do me the favor of mentioning me.
You? I think he wants to be.
Wax crackers. No?
I have no skin in the game. After I've trimmed all my friends, they're not going to have any skin in the game either.
So, I mean...
Luca Nation, this is a 30-minute segment. Leave people with one piece of advice. One piece of advice that you learned in 20 years of business.
Don't buy locks from a supermarket.
Real tactical shit. Have more than one vendor.
Just be a good person.
Jesus Christ.
No, I mean, really.
Are you just watching Gary's content on repeat? Empathy, patience.
I pulled up on Gary on National.
Did you rap for him?
What?
I rapped. Did you spit bars?
And dropped it right on the counter and was hoping Andrew would go and tell him who I am.
They didn't know who Andrew was.
Yo, this is my boy Vadim.
No, I know Tyler and Lou. I pulled up and it was funny because they were like, "Oh, baby, you just made." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's okay, but bring it to him first. See what he says, and then you can share."
Be a real person. First time on a podcast. Vadim, bagels and wax.
Wait, you want business advice?
No, I won't be in a person advice.
Andrew, we're gonna have to do that off podcast. I have so many things I'll tell you.
Luca Nation, another episode. Yeah.
Lost the threesome.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.